UN accuses Putin of inflicting levels of suffering not seen before on Ukraine's people. July 8, 2025. Civilians across Ukraine are facing levels of suffering we have not seen as Russia continues to step up its air offensive with more than 500 drone and missile attacks in June, according to a UN human rights leader. The highest number of civilian casualties in a single month was recorded across the 30 days, with more than 1,500 people in Ukraine caught up in Vladimir Putin's attempted invasion. June saw 232 registered deaths, with a further 1,343 residents injured, while Putin has sanctioned a 605% rise in airstrikes since the start of the year, according to NBC. The rise in strikes coincides with the warring nation's decision to manufacture more Shahd drones, rather than importing from Iran, as its efforts stall. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has labeled the strikes as terror targeting, but it will be boosted by Donald Trump's recent deal with NATO to manufacture and send top-of-the-line weapons to Europe, which the alliance will then distribute to the front line. The Russians are intensifying terror against cities and communities to increasingly intimidate our people, President Zelensky said this week after renewed strikes against his nation. Reports suggest a growing number of factories are manufacturing thousands of drones each month to be used against Ukraine. Due to labor shortages, it is understood that Moscow is actively recruiting workers from across Asia and Africa to bolster workforces in these facilities. Ukraine's head of presidential office, Andriy Yermak, added Russia can't achieve Putin's goals on the front line, so it keeps targeting civilians. Meanwhile, Danielle Bell, head of the UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, echoed this, saying civilians across Ukraine are facing levels of suffering we have not seen in over 3 years. The surge in long-range missile and drone strikes across the country has brought even more death and destruction to civilians far away from the front line. Russia is thought to have failed to capture more than 1% of additional territory from its neighbor since early 2024, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio estimating their forces to have lost more than 100,000 troops during the first 6 months of 2025 alone. President Trump has issued a 50-day ultimatum to his Russian counterpart, urging Russia to stop its war with Ukraine, or it will face 100% tariffs and secondary sanctions targeting partners who continue to trade with Moscow. By the Daily Express, story by Carrington Walker, July 17, 2025.